Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is November 27th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery. You can see the state of California here. No marine layer to speak of up and down the coastline here. We got some offshore component to the winds, keeping that marine layer off over the coastal areas. You can see our next storm system out here, slowly making its way towards central California, and then we'll drop down across southern California. But the one behind this is a bit chillier, and it'll bring some snow probably to the higher terrain here, and some rainfall again, and then maybe some rain even out towards portions of Arizona as well. We'll look at those details as we go through the video here this morning. Taking a look at this day in SoCal weather history, 1919, November 27th, snow, 2003, Santa Ana winds, and 2005, a funnel cloud. Check it out. Someone even got a picture of that near Dana Point. Nice stuff from the National Weather Service, San Diego. Check out the freezing temperatures here for some of the valley areas. That does include Chico, Yuba City, Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto down there, and some of the interior valleys across northwest California out towards Eureka as well. This goes through 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll see if this gets extended at all over the next day or so. And you can see again the freeze warnings here all the way down through the I-5 corridor and the valley areas here. The wind advisories for the Santa Ana winds, gusts to 45 miles per hour, can be expected to that across much of the area northwest of the Los Angeles metro. And here we are with that wind advisory, just talking about 15 to 30 sustained with gusts to 45 miles per hour. And that goes through 3 p.m. this afternoon, but we're going to have some gusty winds continue on in through tomorrow also. We'll take a look at that. And National Weather Service Phoenix picking up on that secondary system. This is not the one we just looked at on the visible satellite imagery here. This is the one behind that. So you can kind of see it's going to cool down much of the region here, and more on that here in a moment. If you want a nice affordable home weather station, this makes a great gift. Go ahead and click on that link down below to save 10% off. Great smartphone app, stores all the data for you in the cloud, all solar powered and wireless. Highly recommend this station. Now looking at the NAM3 cam, this is hot off the presses here. You can see the state of California and the offshore component we have going on as we go through this morning. You can see those gusty winds occurring. Some strong winds also just south of Vegas across from the Colorado River area. Strong north winds. You can even see some offshore flow component here across some of the Sierra Nevada, some of the Bay Area as well. And you can see our next storm system out here spinning towards the coastline. And you notice we keep these northeast winds going on in through tomorrow morning, northwest of Los Angeles here, across some of the higher terrain, especially in the gaps. You guys know the deal with the Santa Anas. Then it really weakens here as we go through Tuesday afternoon, and we start to switch up the flow back to onshore across the Sierra Nevada and onshore across the higher terrain of Southern California. As you can see, the low pressure is spinning towards the coastline. Might have some gusty winds with that right along the immediate coast, some of the higher terrain there as well as we go on in through Wednesday morning, and then the system will slide south. And you see right at the end of the run here, so getting some gusty northwest and westerly winds here across some of the Southern California higher terrain also. Now looking at total precipitation in inches on the North American model, this is just over the next 60 hours, but you'll see our storm spinning off the coastline here and starting to bring precipitation to Northern California here, maybe Fort Bragg picking up a couple tenths of an inch of rain. And San Francisco, the Bay Area, you can see there's pretty good amounts just south and just north. So this could change. You got to watch out. There's going to be some highly variable amounts as this is 60 hours, about Wednesday afternoon when this ends, and still a bit of precipitation coming after this in some of the model runs we'll look at here in a moment. Now, this is looking at a wider view of things here. You got the Hawaiian Islands, Alaska, there's Japan, and there's Washington, California here. So here's our system currently moving towards the coastline there. And then this secondary one right there that starts dropping down as we go through the later portion of the week here. That's the chillier system. Could bring some mountain snow and some more widespread rainfall across the area. And then maybe another impulse or two rolls through. And then we start to turn things a bit more southwesterly. Some powerful atmospheric rivers look like they may impact portions of Northern California, Washington, Oregon, and we'll take a look at that here in a bit more detail in a moment. But you can see a nice strong jet stream there, southwesterly flow as we look onto the extended forecast. Here we go with the GFS. This is hot off the presses, the 12Z run. We got the Hawaiian Islands there. There's California. There's our storm system currently, and you can see it kind of weakening as it gets towards the coastline here. This would be Tuesday afternoon. You can see some of the rain just starting to arrive on the Northern California coast as we go through Tuesday night. By the time you get towards Wednesday morning, the rain will start across some of the Bay Area, the Central Coast, and eventually slide across some of Southern California. Not much showing up here on the GFS, however, in terms of rainfall. This would be Wednesday night. Maybe continuing on a bit, bringing some precip maybe for eastern Arizona and some of New Mexico. They can really use it out there. And then the secondary system rolls down here as we go through very late Thursday night into Friday morning. This is the chillier storm here and probably going to bring some mountain snow with it also, maybe a little bit of light precipitation across Southern California. But Arizona looks like it might be targeted here for some moderate rainfall amounts as well. Another impulse moves through here as we go through Saturday morning. And then the atmospheric rivers really get ramping up here into the Pacific Northwest, including including at times portions of Northern California here. So we'll continue to watch that to see just how far south this atmospheric river may dip at times as we go on in through next week. But yeah, pretty active storm train right into the Pacific Northwest here coming up over the next week or so. Taking a look at total precipitation in inches. This is last night's European run. State of California is here. And as we scroll through here, there's the initial system bringing some to the central coast, the Bay Area, and a little bit to the Southern California mountains there. Arizona, European showing a little bit more precipitation across some of northwest Arizona also. Then the secondary system drops down. A colder system could be bringing snow to the Sierra Nevada, maybe even a little bit of snow to the higher terrain of Southern California also. But look at Arizona picking up some decent amounts here as we go on in towards the weekend, and maybe another impulse or two tries to roll over the top of some ridging off the coastline here, and then we start to turn things more southwesterly as we go into the extended forecast. Now looking at probability of total snowfall greater than 1 inch. And again, this is last night's European run. Here's California. As we scroll on in through the mid portion of the week, check out Arizona, the northern half there, higher terrain, getting some pretty good probabilities of 1+ inch snowfall out of that. And then you can see the Sierra Nevada starts to light up here. And even some of the Southern California higher terrain could get some snow out of that. You can see you're approaching, 40, maybe 30-40% chance of 1 inch or greater across some of the higher terrain out there. So we'll watch this over the next few days as well. But you can see Northern California, Sierra Nevada, and portions of Nevada look like pretty good odds to pick up some snow with that secondary system moving over the area. You can see 80+% across a lot of the Sierra Nevada. And actually, if we click here for greater than 3 inches, you can actually say you're looking at maybe up towards 60-70% for some of the Sierra Nevada also. And even greater than 6 inches, you could be looking at for some portions of the Sierra Nevada. Looking at total snow on the European, so this kind of gives you the general amount here on the deterministic or the control run, which should be the same here. The European kind of switched things up here over the last several months. But now looking at this, you can see how that snow gets down to Southern California a little bit, but might put a nice coating there on the Sierra Nevada. But check out some of the amounts across northern Arizona and even New Mexico as well, portions of Utah, Nevada also, and Oregon shown here on the European model. Now, looking at 700 millibars, this is 10,000 feet in the atmosphere. It kind of gives a good visual representation of what's happening in the atmosphere at the upper atmosphere in the upper level. Here is the storm system off the coastline. You can see it's spinning and making its way towards the coastline, bringing with it some light to moderate precipitation, and then the chillier air mass arrives. This kind of gives you a good idea of that colder air driving down across the state of California, Nevada, and Arizona, and could be bringing that higher elevation snowfall as we go through the end of the week in towards the weekend coming up here. Now, taking a look at the 2-meter temperature, this is the European last night's run here. So we're going to go ahead and scroll through here, and you can see the overnight lows as we go on into this morning here, because this ran yesterday afternoon. So this would be Monday morning. And as we go through the afternoon today, you can see some of the valley areas warming up back into the low to mid 60s. Arizona, nice and comfortable. Desert areas, Southern California, nice and comfortable. Maybe up towards 70, mid 70s for some of Arizona. And then we go to the overnight lows tomorrow morning. So you can kind of see the nocturnal and the diurnal cycle here as we go through the diurnal heating. Nice day tomorrow here for Tuesday across a lot of the valley areas, maybe some upper 60s to be had there. And then as we go on into Wednesday morning, you'll see the nighttime cooling and then that daytime warming here. And notice as we get on into Thursday, watch what happens here. We start to cool things off. You notice we only get back up into the 50s for some of the valley areas, and a lot of Arizona only look at some mid 60s, maybe 70 degrees right along the California-Mexico border there. But as we scroll on into Friday as well, you can kind of see the suppression of the temperatures with that system that's going to be driving down out of the northwest here. So going to cool things down a bit here as we go through the end of the week. And then here we go on into Saturday afternoon as well, kind of staying relatively chilly. Looking at the 500 millibar heights, this is GFS ensemble. This is an average of all 30 ensemble members here. This kind of gives us a general idea of where the ridges and troughs are going to be as we scroll through the forecast. So now we're on into about Tuesday night here, and you can see the system approaching the coastline. Pretty good model agreement in that. Trough remains open here, the ridging off the coastline, and we bring that next secondary system that's going to cool things down, and maybe that mountain snow will fall with that, and then maybe another impulse there before we start for a pattern change across the Pacific here as the ridging gets closer to the west coast of North America, and we bring these powerful atmospheric rivers down through Oregon and Washington, and maybe including some of Northern California at times through next week. So you can see that deep Aleutian low here across a lot of the Gulf of Alaska, just kind of sitting and spinning for a few days. Looking at San Francisco, check it out, 0.2 of an inch of rain in the latest European model here, and this would be starting sometime on Wednesday morning, most likely. Could get a little bit higher amounts. You can see some of the ensembles a little bit higher than that, and then maybe a little bit of precip with that secondary system dropping over the top. San Diego International, hopefully you can get 1/10 of an inch out of this next system here. No promises. Precipitation should be generally light. Here's Phoenix. Some of the ensemble members showing fairly decent amounts here coming in, but maybe an inch, 1/10 of an inch or two here coming up as we go on in towards Friday night. Now here's the 6 to 10 day precipitation probability outlook here. So this goes through December 6th. You can see the northern half of California kind of bullseyed here and actually below average signal here for some of Southern California and Western Arizona. 6 to 10 day temperature starting to warm things up here as we start to turn that flow southwesterly. Below average signal here for Arizona and New Mexico. An 8 to 14 day precipitation probability outlook, something similar there as well. Again, the northern half of California kind of targeted there, and temperatures warming up with that southwest flow. But anyway, here goes our next system here. Then the next one after that will be the cooler one as it moves through the end of the week in towards the weekend here. So anyway, hope you guys are ready for that, and it's going to cool things down as we go. But we've been having some pretty chilly overnight lows. As you guys know, this freeze warnings have been out there as well, and some of the wind sheltered areas have been pretty darn right cold the last couple of mornings. But anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. We'll do this again tomorrow. We'll try to break this down and see what kind of precipitation amounts are trending with this system and the next one. And then we'll continue to watch the extended forecast to see what those atmospheric rivers are going to do back into the West Coast here through the extended forecast. But anyway, hope you guys are liking the videos. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then.